I'm about to start another batch of my bone broth, so I wanted to share. In this pot, I have 6 grass-fed marrow bones. I have about 7 or 8 whole cloves of garlic. I grated a teaspoon and a half or 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger root. There's a carrot, celery, parsley, salt and pepper. I think that's about it. Oh, and 2 tablespoons of raw, unpasteurized organic apple cider vinegar. And then I will just fill this up about 2 inches above the bones with filtered water. I simmer it on the stove for at least 24 hours, and then at which point I will remove it from the stove top and strain it, and I'll show you that step later. So I'm back again, and this is my bone broth. This is what it looks like after 30 hours of simmering on my stove. So it's a murky mess, but it's going to be delicious and nourishing, I promise. So I'm going to show you how I handle this now. I have a measuring cup with a strainer, and I lined it with cheesecloth. And first of all, before I do anything, I'm going to remove the bones, and I have a tea towel down because this gets messy. And I'm going to remove the bones and reserve them in a bowl off to the side because I eat them. Well, I don't eat the bones, but I eat what's inside, what's left over, and the stewed marrow, I eat it because it's very nourishing. It's very rich in fat that my body really appreciates. So it's good brain food. So I will just remove the bones like so. You want to be careful doing this because it's very hot. The bones are very hot, so that's why I'm using tongs. And this bone broth, each batch I make, it will usually last me anywhere from 5 to 7 days, depending on how much it yields, but I have a cup or 2 of bone broth every single day. I break my fast with it, so before I put any solid food into my body, I will drink a cup of bone broth, and then I usually wait about half an hour or 45 minutes before I consume anything solid. And that, for me, it helps my digestion, and also I've noticed a marked improvement since I incorporated bone broth into my daily diet. So this is my bones, by the way. So I will enjoy this later, pick on it and eat the marrow. Okay, but I have noticed a marked improvements in my mood and my vitality and just my skin tone and everything since I started consuming bone broth every day. It's a staple. So I'm going to simply pour this, and it will strain. I hope you can see, although there's not much to see here, but yeah, this is just one of the staples in my kitchen that I nourish my mind and my body with, because this is like precious liquid to me. It's not like precious liquid. It is absolutely precious liquid to me because this has made such a difference in my overall wellness, and as well as the what is in here, which I know does not look appetizing. Well, to me it does, but this marrow goodness, I will really delight in this later on today. This is actually like a delicacy for me, so I love this part because I not only get my bone broth, I get those goodies. And I know bone broth is really trendy now. I've seen in grocery stores they have, you know, commercial bone broths, but again, it really is different making it yourself. There's just no comparison making it homemade, and it's much more economical too. It's to buy like 3 pounds of bones for $10 or so. You yield much more broth than if you were to buy a $10 bag. I've seen a frozen bag of bone broth that only has like 2.5 cups of bone broth in it, so that's like 2 servings for me. So it's just not even a contest. So I'm going to finish straining this, and I have a little bit left. I'm going to do this again, but to save time for the video, because it's just going to be repeated what I just did, I will show you that to put it into jars, I have a sterilized half-gallon jar here, and I'm going to, again, line this with cheesecloth, and I'm simply going to transfer what I just poured. It's heavy. I'm going to transfer it into the jar. And once this is cooled and refrigerated, you'll notice after about 5, 6, 7 hours in the refrigerator, there will be a solid layer of fat that rises to the top, and that is the tallow that you can use for cooking or just as a fat source in your diet. You don't have to throw that away. You can use that to cook eggs or vegetables or anything, or put it on meat, anything like that. Just use it as a fat source. And what is underneath will be the gelatinized, jiggly bone broth that is very rich in collagen and minerals, and it's also very tasty because of the way that I prepared the broth with the seasonings, the herbs, the vegetables, and salt and pepper and things. It's very tasty. So I will simply do this again, repeat it again to fill the jar, and guys, that's it. So as you can see, making bone broth is not difficult, and I encourage anyone watching this to make your own bone broth. Again, I just bought these bones from Whole Foods, the grass-fed marrow bones from Whole Foods, and usually they will, if you ask, they will even like cut them for you to size so that they will fit in your pot, because I don't have a huge kitchen and I don't have a huge tall stock pot. My stock pot rather is wide and stout, so I always ask them to cut the bones, because if not, the bones are very long. So I ask them to cut them into thirds, and they always treat me really well there at Whole Foods. Now they know me by first name because I come in there so often for beef heart and beef liver and marrow bones and all sorts of animal products. So the meat counter man knows me really well. So yeah, so here is the finished broth, and you can already see this. See this? That is the fat. So that will solidify in the refrigerator, and then you can remove that and reserve it to the side for, like I said, cooking or just as a fat source in your diet. And then what's underneath will be the remaining broth. And as it gelatinizes further in the refrigerator, as the days go on, when I have this in my refrigerator, it gets more and more gelatinous and set. And that's exactly what you want, because that gelatin, that collagen gelatin, is what nourishes the body, and it's also really, really good for your skin, for the connective tissue. and it maintains the suppleness and tone of the skin. So it not only tastes great and is great for your insides, but it's great for your outsides too. So I hope you guys try this. I hope you make your own bone broth, and in the comments, if you do, let me know how it goes. I'd love to know. To your health. So I'm back with my refrigerated bone broth, and as you can see, there's a thick layer of tallow on the top. So I'm going to show you now what I do. I open the jar, and it's solid. So I kind of slice it. It's really hard, you guys. And this broth turned out super. It is so gelatinous. Sometimes they're more watery than others. This one turned out excellent. I can tell it's so jellified, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so there we go. I broke the seal, and I just grab this. See how it's a solid piece of fat? And I just put it off to the side because I'm going to show you what I do with it, or one of the ways I use it. You can fry eggs in this, you can saute vegetables with this. Because I used grass-fed marrow bones, there's nothing bad in this, and it nourishes my body. So, okay, so this will be refrigerated back in my refrigerator so I can enjoy my broth. And this, I'm going to show you, I have a warmed cup and a half of my previous batch of bone broth, because I never run out of this, as I said. I warmed it up in the microwave, and there's about a cup and a half here of my previous batch. And what I do is I will take like a tablespoon or so, and I put it in here, and I let it kind of melt. Put a little more, and this is something I do often because, well, first of all, because it allows me to consume this, which tallow, I enjoy that as a fat source, and it is, like I said, very nourishing to the body. But also, it's really comforting, especially this time of year when it's cold and chilly, and I just want something very soothing and comforting. I will often have this before I even eat anything for the day. And then I have this milk frother, and I just froth this, and I froth it for about, well, until it looks satisfactory to me. So this is kind of like a bone broth latte, my version. You know, I would rather have this than Starbucks any day, if you ask me. So I just froth it. That looks about right. And that's it, you guys. It's like I said, it's like a bone broth latte, and I will just consume this, and it is so yummy. It's really, really delicious, and the addition of the tallow makes it really satisfying and nourishing, and I love it. And I know I keep saying this, but I think it really does help my skin, and not just my facial skin, but the skin all over my body it's in very good condition. And through my diet, actually, I have treated and cured my own psoriasis. I used to have, just to go off on a little tangent, I used to have a stubborn patch of scalp psoriasis for years, and when I changed my diet, that went away, and nothing would treat that. I even had prescription creams and things that I would put to no avail. So I'm a big believer in including fat, and a hefty portion of fat in the diet. For me, it has been very beneficial for not only my body, my insides, but my mood, my depression, anxiety, and erratic mood. The addition of a healthy dose of fat every single day has been monumental for my health. So I'm a big proponent in consuming things like this. So that's the last thing I wanted to show you with this bone broth, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.